Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fundamental, everyday choice, one that literally dictates the entire trajectory of our lives. So often we're just cruising on autopilot, right? We're dodging discomfort left and right, thinking we're doing ourselves this massive favor. But what if our whole definition of difficulty is just completely backward? Today, we're breaking down a concept that totally flips how we look at effort, comfort, and our own human potential. I really want you to stop and think about this for a second. What if staying exactly the same, like avoiding all those growing pains, skipping the effort, just maintaining the status quo, what if that is actually vastly harder in the long run than making a change? We almost always view personal growth as this terrifying mountain we have to climb. But we rarely pause to calculate the steep compounding cost of just doing absolutely nothing. And that brings us to our first point, Section 1, choosing your hard. Because here's the thing, both paths take effort.
Let's look at a super practical example here. Both paths take a toll on us, no matter what. On one side, we've got exercising. And yeah, it's hard. It takes discipline, it takes sweat, it's a grind. But look at the alternative. If you decided to just skip it and stay cozy on the couch, well, you're eventually signing up for a whole different list. Pains, aches, diseases, disorders, low energy, low brain power, low confidence, low strength. The burden of that second list is incredibly heavy. It's this slow, grinding exhaustion. But when we flip back to that active choice, actually exercising, suddenly that effort feels productive, right? It feels vital.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core philosophy we're exploring today. Choose your hard. Just let that resonate for a second. You don't get a free pass to opt out of hardship, but you absolutely get to choose your hard. Putting in the work is tough, sure, but completely avoiding discomfort, that just creates a completely different and honestly a far worse kind of hardship down the line. Moving on to Section 2, the comfort zone trap. Let's unpack exactly why we stay stuck. So, if the heart of an action is really that terrible, why on earth do we keep picking it? Well, there's a saying, known hells are preferable to unknown heavens. This perfectly captures the deep, kind of irrational irony of human psychology. We will fiercely, absolutely fiercely, defend a miserable situation simply because it's familiar to us. The heaven of a better, healthier life is out there waiting, but because it's unknown, our brain immediately perceives it as a threat. So we just stay put in the hell we know. Now, what's really fascinating here is how we actually define what's happening in our minds. The comfort zone isn't necessarily comfortable at all. It's really just a state of rationalizing reasons to remain in a harmful state because of familiar beliefs. We literally trick ourselves. We invent every single excuse in the book to stay exactly where we are, even though logically we know it hurts us. It's just a mental trap designed by our brains to keep us safe, but really, it just keeps us totally stuck. All right, let's move right into Section 3, breaking mental limitations. Time to shatter those barriers. To actually escape that trap, we have to deeply internalize this foundational truth. The only limitations are in your mind. I know, it sounds simple, right? But it requires a massive paradigm shift. We have to start demanding more from ourselves than just repeating the familiar routines of our known hells. The barriers you feel holding you back? They aren't actual physical brick walls. They're just deeply, deeply ingrained mental habits. Which leads us straight to one of the most compelling questions of this entire explainer. How do we break the habit of being ourselves? Because when you think about it, that is exactly what our current identity is. It's a habit. It's a highly practiced set of thoughts, reactions, and rationalizations. To change, we literally have to stop being the person who chooses that harmful, familiar, hard, and start becoming someone entirely new. And that brings us to our fourth and final section, living your future today. So here is the ultimate blueprint for breaking the habit of your current self. Imagine how you wish to be in the future and live it today. You simply cannot wait for circumstances to magically change before you change your behavior. You have to take that ideal future version of yourself, the one who willingly chooses the productive hard, and pull that identity directly into your present reality. And there is a very specific, progressive sequence to pulling this off. First step, step 1. You have to think as if you already are that future person. Once you do that, it naturally flows into step 2. You begin to believe it. Step 3, you actually start to feel it on a deep emotional level. And once you feel it, step 4 kicks in automatically. You start to behave differently. Finally, step 5, you make decisions and act in a completely new way. You're basically reverse engineering your own future success. The ultimate benefit of following these steps is just incredible. By acting as your future self right now, today, you fundamentally change how you interact with the world. You are going to draw attention, you're going to attract possibilities, and you'll start attracting incredible opportunities right to you. It's like when you finally break out of that comfort zone, the world just responds to that brand new energy. So we arrive right back at the reality of your daily choices. You know now that the comfort zone is just a familiar trap. And breaking the habit of being yourself requires living your future identity today. Effort is absolutely unavoidable. The only variable you actually control is where that effort goes. So as you step away from this explainer and dive back into your daily routine, I'm going to leave you with this final, absolutely essential question. Which hard will you choose today?